There are few issues more topical these days than government and the economy. Many political and public figures throw around terms like socialism, fascism, and capitalism without knowing what they mean or defining them for their audience. Understanding these systems and their issues is critical in helping Americans decide what ideas and proposals for action they should and should not support. In Why Socialism Struggles, economic policy expert Dr. Doug Cardell tackles his hotly debated topic with clarity, logic, and evidence. Written in an engaging question and answer format, this book breaks down complex economic principles into digestible insights and addresses the most common and often misunderstood questions about socialism. What is socialism, really? Why do people keep proposing it? Has it ever worked? Drawing from decades of research, historical examples, and real world data, Doug explains why socialism consistently leads to inefficiency and the erosion of individual freedoms. Each answer builds toward a powerful argument. Despite its appeal in theory, socialism fails in practice because it misunderstands human behavior, incentives, and the role of prices in coordinating economic activity. Accessible, respectful, and thought provoking, Why Socialism Struggles is essential reading for students, curious citizens, and anyone seeking to understand the economic systems that shape our world, and why free markets and all their imperfections remain the most effective path to prosperity. Welcome to the show, Dr. Cardell. I want to thank you for being here today. And I was wondering if you could tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you're working on the most right now.
Well, I'm happy to be here, Samantha.
Yeah,
I think we're going to have some fun.
good.
I'm an economist. I have a
Mhm.
PhD in economics, and um, my biggest concerns right now have to do with the perception in some of the public that socialism is a viable option for the United States economy. Um,
Mhm.
and I think I've, in my research, pretty much conclusively proved that it can't work. And I'm interested in sharing that with people.
Yeah.
I've finished a book, Why Socialism Struggles, and I'm working on a second, Why Capitalism Struggles. And so
Nice. Nice. Do you have a copy of your book next to you?
I do.
Yeah, show that. Show that off. Perfect. All right, and where can the audience find it?
It's available for pre-order right now on Amazon.
Perfect.
It'll be released on January 20th, but we're getting pretty close to that. So if they order
Yeah.
now, they can probably actually get it by the 20th. I think Amazon ships with the intention of getting the book to the reader on the release date.
Nice. Nice. Perfect. All right. So I know the theory out there is, oh, well, true socialism has never been tried before. So that, so socialism, has it ever worked for any
No,
country?
it hasn't worked, not only not for a country, but not even at relatively small scales.
Okay.
In fact, the first thing that was tried in the US was essentially socialism. It was, at the time, obviously, it was pre Marx, so it wasn't called socialism, it was called collectivism.
Okay.
But the Mayflower Colony and Jamestown were both founded as collectivist enterprises, but they both failed horribly badly. The, the colonists ended up eating their shoes, digging up corpses. I mean,
Oh,
really, yeah. I mean, really cringy stuff because they were starving, and it wasn't until the governors of the two respective colonies reinstated capitalism, or free markets at least, that
mhm.
things started working again. And had it gone on much longer, I'm sure both colonies would have not survived. When people say that it's never been really tried, um, I'm not sure I know what that means.
Uh,
North
yeah.
Korea right now is a socialist state. It's uh, I don't know what about it people would say is not socialist. The nature of socialism is that it pretty much has to lead to dictatorship,
Mhm.
because in order, if somebody is planning the economy, which is the whole idea behind socialism, is the government takes control of the economy, they own the property, they own the means of production.
Yeah.
Um, where is the room for freedom? Right now,
Yeah.
one of the greatest freedoms we have is that we vote every day with our money. We make economic
Right.
choices, and those choices affect the whole economy. Our
Yeah.
choices affect what companies succeed and fail. Uh, what they affect what new products will come to market. Uh, it'll determine what old products fade out of the market. And so
Mhm.
every day we're voting with our choices. And I think too many people fail to realize that. They think that they're just cogs in some big machine, but it's like an election every single day when we vote on stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I never even thought about it, about it that way, that it takes away the competition from businesses to do something better, something unique, maybe make something that I mean, we wouldn't even have a variety of things. Like, look, our style of clothing would probably all be similar.
Yeah,
Just
look at
that.
North Korea. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
uh,
man.
in a lot of those places, they actually have like civilian uniforms. And yeah, lack of choice. When Hitler was in power in Germany, and
Mhm.
I'm sure some of your listeners are going to say, well, that's just fascism. Fascism and socialism are almost identical. In fascism, the technical way to look at it is they control the means of production, they control the property, they just don't own it outright.
Mhm.
And so what Hitler did was he went to Porsche and said, I've got this idea for a car and I want you to make it. And that's the only car we're going to have. And that was the Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's interesting to I don't know. It's just, we think about that stuff, but it's interesting to apply. Like, okay, so what if everyone here just drove the same car? And
Right.
more than oh gosh, it'd be so
And I had a Volkswagen Beetle in college. It was great, but
Oh
it
yeah.
certainly wouldn't work for me now. And it certainly wouldn't work for a soccer mom that needs
Yeah.
a van.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to think they were cute, and yeah, I liked those too. And but no, if I had a 90-pound lab, like I'd never be able to get him to the vet in a Volkswagen Beetle.
Sure.
Um um so yeah, I really don't know why people say like, oh, true socialism hasn't been tried. But also, wouldn't that open up fraud is a huge topic right now, and
Sure.
wouldn't that open up the possibility for the government to just completely abuse the system?
That's exactly what happens. It, people talk a lot about income inequality,
Mm,
but in every socialist state that has ever existed, income inequality is far greater than it is in the United States today. Look at
yeah,
North Korea. I mean, we've got people
yeah.
living on like $2 a day for the regular people, and the the government pets are living in luxury.
Mhm.
Uh, the same was I think I read something the other day that Putin is probably worth about 800 billion.
Oh,
I
yeah, and
mean,
look at how his
and
citizens are living.
yeah, and exactly. And so, and the part of the difference is that the people here in the U.S. that are rich
Mhm.
got there by a whole different means.
Yeah.
Putin has contributed nothing to the economy of Russia.
Right.
He
Right.
hasn't invented anything. He hasn't created anything. He
Mhm.
got rich by taking money from the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas here, you and I are talking on computers right now.
Yeah.
We couldn't do this if it weren't for Bill Gates.
Right.
Our lives are better. Your life, my life, and our listeners' lives are all better because of what Bill Gates did. Now, you may
Right.
not like his politics, you may not like stuff he says, whatever, but he made all of our lives better, and so he made some billions of dollars doing it. What do I care?
Right.
My life's better,
Yeah.
and And that's the part that people often don't get about capitalism.
Mhm.
They they're fixed in a mindset that implies that if people have something, they must have taken it from somebody else.
Yeah.
And sadly, I mean, that was true not too long ago. And let me take a minute and explain that. From the year zero to about the year 1500, there was no human progress. One way to measure that is per capita GDP. That is, on average, how much each person produces
Mhm.
for the world. Didn't change, not a drop. 1500 years, and the amount
Yeah.
of stuff was the same. Well, that's where the legend of Robin Hood came from. Because
Oh.
back then, if you wanted stuff, you
Mhm.
had to take it from somebody else because there wasn't any new supply of stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff was fixed.
That makes
In,
sense.
in economics, we talk about that as the size of the pie. And from
Okay.
0 to 1500, we had a fixed pie. So if you wanted a bigger piece, the only way to get it was to take it from somebody else.
Okay.
But then in 1500, the world started changing. Um, you could make lots of arguments about what happened first and so on, but a good
Mhm.
example would be James Watt and the steam engine. He had this
Okay.
idea, and
Yeah.
he found venture capitalists to invest in it so he could develop it.
Mhm.
And things went well. And
Yeah.
from 1500 to about 1700, per capita GDP increased by 40%.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I mean, in only
Yeah.
200 years, the world was almost 1.5 times better than it was 200 years ago earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge.
That is.
But starting in 1700, things really took off
Mhm.
because the United States was the first country in the world to be founded on capitalism. It's the
Okay.
first country in the world to have patents in its constitution.
Nice.
And without patents, you don't have entrepreneurs because who's going to go out and spend a lot of time inventing something if they can't reap the rewards from doing that?
Right. Yeah.
And then, but then since then, you look at by the time the United States actually got really rolling, 1820 ish,
Mhm.
now the entire world is 18 times better off than it was in 1500.
Wow.
Now that's the entire world
Yeah.
because we're dragging the world along with us. Everybody's life in the entire world
Mhm.
is better. And in the US, it's more like 40 times greater.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any system ever imagined.
Mhm.
The problem is people don't know that because now what happens is this: instead of that fixed pie, what capitalism does is it makes a bigger pie.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so the person that made the pie bigger may take a bigger slice, but everybody gets a bigger slice.
Right.
That's what Gates did. I mean, he
Yeah.
made all of our lives better and made a huge profit doing it. But
Mhm.
what do I care how much profit he makes if my life is better? And this is, you look at the top 10 people, richest people in the world, they're all in that category. None of them got there by inheriting a bunch of money or by running some scam somewhere or by oppressing people or anything remotely like that.
Yeah.
Elon Musk. I happen to be on Starlink. I live out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm
Nice.
talking to you now thanks to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So same thing. Why would I put him down because he's made my life better?
Right.
Jeff Bezos, Amazon. I actually ran the numbers on that, and Amazon on average makes the average American $2,000 to $3,000 richer a year.
Is that because it saves on, transportation and to find those products?
Yeah,
Nice.
it
Yeah.
saves on transportation. It also saves because Amazon has huge buying power, so they can
Yeah.
get the same stuff cheaper than I could get it myself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. So,
And so the same thing. Am I going to nag on Jeff Bezos because he's rich? No, he made me richer,
mhm.
and he's making me richer every year by $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah. And it makes your life easier too. Like a
Yeah, of
lot of
course it
people
does.
would pay money to have an easier, you know, life.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So,
Uh,
yeah.
the rich today get rich by making the pie bigger. Now, I
Mhm.
should I should add a caveat. Are there bad rich people out there or bad capitalists? Of course there are.
Right.
There's bad people in every walk of life. And unfortunately, too many people blame capitalists in general for the actions of a few. But
Mhm.
even the actions of that few is the responsibility of government, not capitalism. If somebody's doing
Yeah.
bad stuff as a capitalist or as a lawyer or as a podcaster, it's the job of
Yeah.
government to do something about that.
Right. Right.
And so, yeah, of course there's bad. I think in my book, one of the examples I use is if your house is being burglarized and you call the police
Mhm.
and they come and then start helping the burglar load your stuff into the burglar's car. Well, I'd be a little upset with the burglar, but I'm a lot more upset with the police.
Yeah.
Their job was to
Yeah.
protect me.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of anger is misplaced. It's put
Mhm.
on the wrong person, and I'm sure that jealousy is tied in there quite a bit as well. It's
Mhm.
easier to hate the person who has what you want than it is to, you know, hate an entity that might be needing to hold people accountable.
Well, and yeah, and that leads to something else that I'm really passionate about, and that is the notion of creating value. Um, we have gotten things very, very mixed up to our detriment.
Mhm.
We think we work for a living, and we're told we should work for a living, but that's a
Mhm.
really bad idea because you could spend all day digging holes and filling them up again.
Yeah.
You're not going to get paid for that
Yeah.
because you haven't created any value.
Yeah.
And so creating value changes your life. Um, First of all, it makes you a whole lot happier. And we can talk more about that. But when I got up this morning, I didn't think of myself as, oh, darn, I've got to go do this podcast. I've got to go to work today. And
I
I'm betting
appreciate
that you
that.
didn't either.
Yeah.
I got up excited. I was looking forward to it from the minute I got up. And I think you probably were too.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think the reason we both feel that way is because we know we're creating value for somebody else.
Mhm.
We've got listeners out there right now that or what is aired
Yeah.
that that we hope we're contributing, we're doing something to make their lives better. I like to try and imagine a world where that's where we all are, where our main focus is how can we make lives better for somebody else,
Mhm.
but not by giving them stuff, not by some sort of welfare scheme, but
Right.
by creating things that make their life better, like Jeff Bezos creating Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can all do that right now. You and I are creating this podcast that we hope will make somebody's life better. And I'll
Mhm.
bet it will. We need to change the way we look at the world. And if we imagine, even in the simplest sort of exchange, let's say you're flipping burgers in a
Mhm.
burger joint somewhere. And every day you're going, oh, I hate my job, but I've got to come here and do this every day because I've
Yeah.
got to make money. And you're flipping those burgers and you're just not loving it at all.
Mhm.
Oh, what if we change the way we look at that? What if that guy flipping burgers suddenly goes, why is that end consumer here? And start thinking about that person that you're doing it for. You're not
Yeah.
doing it for your boss. He's just a middleman. You're doing it
Yeah.
for that consumer. And that consumer came to you because he's hungry. He
Mhm.
doesn't want to take the time to cook, or he can't cook.
Yeah.
And he's counting on you to do that for him.
Yeah.
And so as you cook that hamburger, what if you're thinking, I'm going to make this guy the best hamburger he's ever had? I, I'm just really going to do this right.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to serve it to him with as much joy and openness as I can possibly bring. I guarantee if that guy does that for a week, he's going to feel a whole lot better.
Yeah.
If nothing else changes, he's going to feel differently about his job. But if he keeps doing that for a month, he's going to start moving up in the organization
Right. Right.
because people that do that get noticed.
Hmm.
And he may end up like the current president of Costco, who started out 30 years ago as a forklift driver in the warehouse.
I didn't know that. That's a really cool story.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff happens all the
Yeah.
time in capitalism.
Yeah.
But it starts by saying, I'm going to create value for other people.
Hmm.
And just that one change can really change people's lives.
Yeah.
Just looking for ways to create value. The other day, I took my wife to a doctor's appointment, and maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and there was an elderly couple there that came in. I should be talking about elderly, but uh, there, and they were concerned about their bill.
Hmm.
The girl behind the counter was clearly in a I'm going to create value mindset. She
Yeah.
was cheerful. She was happy. She was treating these people with respect and dignity. And wow, I mean, it was really, really wonderful to watch it. She was
Yeah.
just a master at creating value for other people. And she's probably, I don't know, early 20s.
Mhm.
And I don't think she's going to be in that job very long. She's going to start
Yeah.
moving up because people are going to notice she did wonderful things for those people. They ended up really, really happy. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just great to watch it.
Yeah. That is nice to see. It's our my the company I work for, I'm a water I'm in water treatment and distribution, and with like the automated systems and payments and stuff like that. I love to see that, like, not only do I try to help those who might not be able to to figure the system out, but all my coworkers will as well. I am lucky that I work with a lot of really nice people that will that go above and beyond, and yeah, we're all paid well, so we get rewarded for, yeah, for taking care of our the citizens of the city. Yeah.
but but again, I'm sure just from talking to you for the short time I have that you're not doing it just for the money.
No. No,
That,
absolutely not. No.
that
No, it
your
makes you
mission
feel
really
good.
is yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, it gives you purpose if you can help somebody out. It gives you purpose, and versus, like you said, just going to work and hating the fact that you're there. It's yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, that's not,
a great way to explain capitalism. It's
yeah. I mean, it's the system. The other thing is I guess a lot of people maybe don't understand capitalism or what it is, but
mm,
I would suggest capitalism is the economics of hope. When I finish this interview,
mm,
I'm probably going to go for a run. Now, why do I want to go for a run? That's a lot of work. It's because I'm a capitalist. I'm investing my time today for a
mm.
better future tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm counting on the fact that I'll be able to live longer, healthier, happier because I go for a run today.
Mhm.
And that's what capitalism is really about. That's why I call it the economics of hope, is that it's saying I'm going to invest today, time, money, resources, anything for a better life tomorrow,
Yeah.
for a profit. And
Yeah.
so, sure, we're investing for a profit, but you listen to people talk about it and they think profit is evil.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Every organism there is works on the basis of profit.
Mhm.
If you put a plant in a room with a window, it's going to grow toward the window every time
Yeah. Yep.
because it makes a profit by doing so.
Yeah.
Now, Clearly the plant is not thinking about that and making investment decisions, but it's the nature of organisms
Hmm.
to do what's in their self-interest. That is, make a profit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And in fact, what makes capitalism so special is that it channels self-interest into something that's good for the community.
Hmm.
When I do what's best for me, I'm also doing what's best everywhere, as long as I don't get carried away with it. And let me
Yeah.
put that in perspective. Uh, we like to think our brains are in control of our bodies.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not. We're not. It's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
First of all, half the cells in your body aren't even human.
Right. That's
Viruses, bacteria, fungi, and that's really more than 50% of your body.
mhm.
But even the cells that are part of your body, let's assume a cell in your kidney somewhere
Okay.
doesn't even know you exist.
Yeah.
It's just there being a little cell. It's doing what it has to grow, survive, reproduce. It's living its own little cell life, pursuing its self-interest. Your kidney just happens to be the environment it lives in.
Yeah.
And so it's similar. A similar thing is with squirrels gathering nuts. Squirrels don't see their job as planting trees.
Right.
They're just gathering food, but it
Yeah.
helps the environment.
Yeah.
And bees don't look at their job as pollinating plants. They're
Hmm.
collecting honey in self-interest, but it benefits the environment. And so what capitalism ends up doing is channeling that self-interest in a way that helps the environment, the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now it can get out of control, like in the metaphor of the body, that's cancer.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's when some of the cells get greedy and
Hmm.
start resources for themselves. And that's
Yeah.
the time for the government, your brain, to step in and go, hey, I got to do something about this.
Yeah.
I've got to get treatment because some of these cells are bad actors and we've got to put a stop to them.
Hmm.
Go get treatment and hopefully get it fixed. And that's the job of government, is to
Yeah.
keep the bad actors from exploiting the rest of us, because self-interest is not the same as greed.
Right.
Greed
Yeah.
is like cancer. Greed is when it turns nasty. Greed is when it goes beyond. Self-interest says, I will do what's in my best interest, but I will not intentionally hurt anybody else. Greed says, I'm going to do what's in my best interest, and I don't care who gets hurt as
Right.
long as I get what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we constantly have to be reminding ourselves of that distinction. The self-interest is good, greed is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people have a hard time seeing the difference sometimes. It, I don't know. I just really wish I could understand the people that see any form of success as a bad thing. I'm sure it's a psychological issue that they need to work on that can't be solved by anyone but themselves. But it's really interesting to see the difference in perspectives on success, on how people view success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think part of it still relates back to the Robin Hood thing we talked about.
Mhm.
That we still seem to be wired to think of the world as a place of scarcity. But
Yeah.
thanks to capitalism, we live in a world of unimaginable abundance.
Yeah. Yeah.
The poorest person today has more stuff, more opportunities than George Washington.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
look back just 250 years ago, and everybody was far, far worse off.
Yeah.
But today, 97% have a cell phone,
Right. Right.
and that cell phone is a computer that is far beyond the computers that put men in space in the 1960s.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're spoiled.
yeah, I mean, and people talk about housing inequality.
Mhm.
Is there inequality? Sure. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, but, and we can talk more about that later, maybe too. But the house I grew up in was 941 square feet for
Yeah.
a family of six.
Oh. Oh, man.
But that was normal.
Yeah.
We lived in a
Yeah.
normal neighborhood. The people next door had a house the same
Yeah.
size as ours, and so on and so on down the block.
Mhm.
And that's part of the difference, is that the world has changed.
Yeah.
And now, some people would call 941 square feet a tiny home.
Uh-huh.
And the difference is even more dramatic. Our house didn't have a clothes dryer. We had a tub spinning washing machine with a wringer on it. One of my jobs as a kid was to wring the clothes.
Okay.
And so I had to take the clothes and put them in this wringer arrangement thing and turn this crank to
Okay. Yeah.
squeeze the water out of the clothes.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't have a microwave. We didn't have central heat. We had
Yeah.
radiators in every room. We didn't have a shower. We had a bathtub. We
Mhm.
didn't have air conditioning. There was no such thing as central air conditioning at that time.
Right.
And I'm 77 years old. So we're not talking about eons ago.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so, but today, houses come with all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So do they cost more? Well, duh. Of course they cost more. And the average house today is like 2,500 square feet,
Mhm.
almost 3 times the size of the house I grew up in.
Yeah.
Now, are there ways to get around that? Well, sure. Today, you could buy a manufactured home for under
Mhm.
$100,000 that has more square footage and all that stuff that I didn't have when I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could buy an acre of land in a lot of places, right here where I am. You could do it easily for under
Yeah.
$10,000.
Yeah.
So for $110,000, you could have way more than I grew up with.
Mhm. Yeah. We're actually considering all doing all of that right now. We're in a very small house and yeah, we were looking at the manufactured homes cuz yeah, you get more bang for your buck, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I think part of the problem too is that too many young people um, look at people like me and say, well, these older people have got bigger houses and so on and so forth, and they've got all this stuff. I want that stuff too. But what they don't seem to realize is that I spent a lifetime
Yes.
accumulating those resources. It didn't,
Yes.
it, the resource fairy didn't come down and tap me on the head with a wand and give me all this stuff. Uh,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
and it takes time to get there.
Mhm.
And the first house I bought was a not 3 bedroom, a 3 room house,
Oh.
not counting the
Okay.
bathroom. We had
Yeah.
a bedroom, a living room, and a kitchen, and then of course a bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And it was probably I don't remember the square footage. If I were guessing, I would say 500.
Okay. Okay.
Tiny, tiny little thing, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And um, and gradually worked my way up. Uh,
yeah.
and now I understand it. I feel bad, particularly for young people in big cities.
Right.
If you live in New York, you're not going to have that kind of opportunity.
Yeah.
Uh, Part of that is because of the government in New York.
Yeah.
Stuff like rent controls and things like that create housing shortages
Yeah.
because people aren't going to build. And if you gave them a chance, maybe they'd create some lower income housing, but they aren't given the chance.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, I feel bad for them, but all I can suggest is get out of New York City.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Find a place where you can uh, survive on a reasonable income, because there's
Yeah.
plenty of places out there like that. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I live I live in rural Arizona, and it's real doable here,
Yeah.
and it is lots of other places.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in a very small town in Iowa. And so yeah, I might be limited on what I can do for work, but you also take that into consideration, like, well, look at what I can afford compared to if I were to move to a city. That's one thing that I had looked into. When I graduated from college, I was thinking about moving out to Denver, Colorado, or Colorado Springs. And it was like, okay, so this is the average income for someone with my degree. What can I get? A house the same size as my apartment with no garage. My apartment has a garage. So why, it's just, I guess you have to decide what you value and what's more important to you. Stuff to do in a city, or, kind of a rural area and more space. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors real quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout.
What we value, that brings up another really huge thing that differentiates capitalism from socialism. And that is what we value. People tend to think that things, labor, anything has some sort of intrinsic value. Gold has no intrinsic value at all. Gold has value because we like it.
Right.
We value it. And
Yeah.
in fact, I saw a headline not too long ago that said the asteroid Psyche had enough gold and other minerals on it to make everybody on Earth a billionaire.
Oh, geez.
Well, it wouldn't. Let's think about what would happen. Let's just say Psyche were to break up in our atmosphere tonight and rain down 3 inches of gold all over the world.
No one would want it.
Exactly. First thing that would happen is gold would have negative value. We
Mhm.
would be literally paying people to take it away.
Right. Right.
So it's not the gold that's valuable. Part of it is supply and demand.
Yeah.
Part of it is because we like it, but it's not the gold. Having
Yeah.
3 inches of gold in your backyard is not an advantage. It's a
No.
disadvantage.
No. Yeah.
And so that's the first thing to understand, is that nothing has any specific value.
Mhm.
Value is a funny thing, though. We all have, you could think of it as a list, but it's probably more like a web
Uh-huh.
of things. Here's what I value most. Here's what I value second most, third most, fourth most, and so on. That list changes all the time. But the whole concept of free enterprise is based on the idea that I will take something lower on my list, but if it's high on your list,
Mhm.
and trade. So I, I get something that I don't want as much as you want,
Right.
and you give me something that I want more than you wanted it.
Yeah.
That's the whole concept of trade. I mean, we use money as a way of making that happen. But what's really happening is just people trading. And so,
Yeah.
like, if you and I were to go out to a restaurant and you really like salad and I really like bread, and we exchange,
Yeah.
so I give you my salad and I take your bread, does it matter what the menu price of the salad and the bread were?
No.
No, we won.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
too often that's not the way people look at it. They want to get down there in the weeds and compare who got the best. We both got a perfect deal.
Mhm.
We got what we wanted.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's what all exchanges are really about.
Yeah.
Nobody's forced to do anything. I mean, some people feel like they're trapped in their job,
Yeah.
but they're not. You
Right.
know, there are alternatives, and I understand that can be scary. Uh,
Mhm.
it makes one uncomfortable, but in order to create value for others,
Yeah.
what we need to teach people to do is explore their talents, find out what they're really good at,
Yeah.
explore their bliss, find out what they really love, and then find a way to use those two things to create value for others.
Yeah. Yeah.
And too
That's
often we don't let people do that. We certainly in schools don't teach people to do that. In fact,
no.
in
No.
schools we do the reverse much of the time. Um, the notion of passing everyone along
Yeah.
kills people. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Failure is a good thing,
Yeah.
particularly with kids. Failure is sending you a message. This might not be the best avenue for you to look into. If I do really well at math and I fail at art, that tells me something.
Right.
It tells me
Right.
maybe I shouldn't be an artist. Maybe I ought to go into math or science or,
Yeah.
too many times we view failure as failure, as an end. It's
Right.
not, it's just, it's a signal. It's a message.
Yeah.
It's, it's telling us that we're doing stuff well or we're doing it not well. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. We need those messages.
Yeah.
And same thing in sports. I mean, we give people participation trophies instead of most valuable player.
Right.
Well,
It's
I'm fine with participation trophies because certainly the first part of any job is showing up.
yeah.
So showing up is something to celebrate, but so is most valuable player.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Doing both is, yeah. I like that better.
Yeah, and we want people to learn how to succeed, but the way to learn how to succeed is to fail sometimes.
Hmm.
I've had lots of failures in my life, and so what? Not a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of tells you, okay, well, I don't need to focus on this anymore because it's just
Yeah,
something I'm not good at, focus on
right.
something else. Yeah.
But and there are also times when you may want to choose to overcome that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's true.
I know when I was probably 6, and I got fired from violin lessons.
You got fired
The,
from violin lessons?
I did. The teacher told my parents that I was tone deaf and I should never ever think about a career doing anything with music.
Oh no.
By the time I was 18, I'd made more money in music than he had
Oh wow.
because I
Wow.
started a rock band and did well.
Yeah. Nice.
And it turns out I wasn't tone deaf. There were a couple of reasons why I had trouble hearing the violin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and so there are times when you want to push back,
Uh-huh.
but that's the whole point: is that failure is not a bad thing. It's not an absolute. It just says it's a message. It says here's something for you to act on.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
and it might mean, well, yeah, okay, I can see I'm not too good at this, or it might mean, you know what, I'm going to make myself good at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And either way is a perfectly fine approach. But the failure itself is just information.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. When this is a little bit off of topic, but I was or yeah, it's kind of going back to economics and stuff. What do you think the ideal tax policy is?
Um, I would argue that a flat tax is probably far and away the best thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever you tax something, you're punishing the action. That's why we have a tax on cigarettes. We want to punish people to prevent them from smoking more.
Yeah. Yeah, that
That's
makes
why we
sense.
have taxes on alcohol. We want to send people a message that alcoholism is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, when our current tax system, taxes on income, is punishing productivity. It's saying the more productive you are, the more money we're going to take from you.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, is that really what we want to do? Do we want to punish productivity?
Yeah.
No. And so, what a flat tax does is a tax on consumption.
Yeah.
So it says we're going to take money based on the amount you consume. Now, the rich people would still be paying more because they're
Oh,
consuming
yeah.
more.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it isn't like they're getting off the hook. And
Yeah.
in fact, it would probably, for the most part, they would probably end up paying more than they do now.
Yeah.
Because in the current system, if you've got the money to do so, you're going to get accountants and lawyers to make sure that you don't have to pay as much as you would
Yeah.
otherwise.
Right.
Whereas if you flat tax, probably a sales tax, you wouldn't have to worry about that. There would be nothing to do accounting wise or legally because
Mhm.
it's a tax on purchases. And so a flat tax like that, first of all, the mechanism is already in place. You don't need the IRS.
Right.
All the states already have sales taxes or something like that. So
Yeah.
all we have to do is add a federal component, poof, we're done.
Yeah.
Easy to implement.
Yeah.
And the only harm I can imagine that it would do would be to accountants,
Right.
lawyers, and politicians.
Yeah. That's the tricky
They would
part.
they might all suffer, but the rest of us would be far better off.
Yeah.
And so, um, and finally, it's ultimately the fairest way. It
Right.
says we're all equal here. We're all going to pay the same,
Yeah.
and except to the extent that we purchase more and less. And
Right.
so, yeah, and that to me, it's morally and logically far sounder than
Mhm.
a progressive income tax.
Yeah. I'm I mean, I know personally if I didn't have taxes taken out of my paycheck, you'd see me spending more money on things I don't need. Definitely. I'm an online shopper. There's certain things where I like to shop, and if I had more money, I would do more. I mean, I would save more too, but I'd definitely do more shopping and therefore pay more taxes on that stuff.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it would work out a lot better. And many
Mhm.
people don't understand it, but the progressive system as it is right now, in my book, one of the analogies I use is people going on a hike.
Uh-huh.
And so if we imagine that we plan this hike and 100 people are going to go on the hike. And you get to the trailhead and you find out that they had a vote before you got there and decided that the fittest people would have to carry the most stuff in their pack.
Okay.
So the less fit people would give all their stuff to the fitter people. And they would base the fitness on a fitness test that they devised. And the fittest person would have to end up based on their formula to carry 432 pounds.
Oh,
And the next fittest and so on down the line.
yeah.
And the least fit would carry nothing. Now,
How's the fittest person going to make it down the trail?
but that's an exact analogy to the progressive tax structure.
Mm-hmm.
The wealthiest taxpayer pays 42%,
Oh my goodness.
the equivalent of that 430 or 43%.
Mm.
And so, how is that fair? I mean, the only rationale they ever give is because they have it.
Yeah.
So the rationale, they don't give a moral rationale or a logical rationale. They just say they can afford it.
Right.
Well, now what does that really mean? Does that mean that the majority could decide tomorrow that anybody that made above $10,000 a year has to give up all of their money for the 10% that don't? I mean,
Right.
I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, if you can do it at one level, you can do it at any level. And
Yeah.
that's all we're talking about is the majority saying person X has a lot of money, so we're going to take a lot of it away from them.
Yeah. I can see. I mean, yeah, that's making me jog back to the Robin Hood idea, and it's again, like, why is that fair? That would just
Yeah.
incentivize people to not work to achieve anything, and then
Yeah,
we have nothing.
that's right. And that's exactly what happens in socialism is that the people end up unimaginably poorer. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage your listeners to do some looking into what life is really like in North Korea. And it
Yeah.
bears no resemblance at all to life here.
Yeah.
Imagine the poorest person you've ever known, and the average person in North Korea is far worse off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to imagine that,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how people do it. But I mean, I suppose if you don't know anything better, I always just picture myself going from my life now to that life, and it's like, oh, it's terrible.
Oh yeah. And the other thing I think about that attracts people to socialism is capitalism is messy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's all controlled by the consumer, and because there's so many of us,
Mm-hmm.
and because we're all doing different things, what happens tomorrow is not very predictable. In fact, part of my own research was to look at 30 years of the personal consumption expenditures of people in the economy.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at what the Federal Reserve predicted, and then I looked at the next year to see what would happen.
Yeah.
They were right 46% of the time. They could have done better flipping a coin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, to make clear, I'm not calling the Fed incompetent. Quite the reverse. They're a bunch of smart people that are
Mm-hmm.
doing their very best. I couldn't do any better
Oh, right.
because
Yeah.
the economy is a chaotic system.
Yeah.
And a guy named Lorenz found that out about the weather in the early 70s. And
Yeah.
so I'd give your listeners a challenge. Get on your favorite weather app after the
Yeah.
podcast is over. Look at the weather for a week from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And check and see how it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to find out that it's pretty unpredictable.
Yeah.
Now, it gets close, and 2 weeks out, it isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Lorenz was able to predict that beyond 2 weeks, it's hopeless.
Yeah.
But here in Arizona, it was supposed to be 42 last night, and it got to 33.
Yeah, that's a bit of a difference there. That's almost freezing.
And, yeah, and it did. It damaged some plants. It was cold enough to do damage that
Yeah.
had I not believed the forecast, I might have brought those plants in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh.
it can make a difference. And so uh, people have to understand that the economy is the same sort of a thing.
Mhm.
Lorenz's famous line, you've probably heard it, is can a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil precipitate a tornado in Texas?
Yeah.
And yes, it can, because it's all about tipping points. In a chaotic system, there
Mhm.
are lots of times when there's a very, very fine balance, and a tiny, tiny change can tip the system one direction or another.
Yeah.
And I could make the same sort of a statement about the economy. Can somebody buying a pair of shoes in Iowa trigger a depression in Poland?
Right.
And yeah, it could,
Yeah.
because there are so many of us that affect the economy that if it happens to be at a tipping point, it could tip it one way or the other. And
Yeah.
so that's the, even if you thought socialism was a great idea, and even if I accepted that idea, it can't work
Right.
because it relies on central planning, and central planning relies on central prediction.
Yeah.
So in socialism, what they would do is they hire somebody like me. They say, Dr. Doug, you plan the economy for the next year or for a year from now.
Mhm.
Or often they would do it as 5 year plans.
Oh, that'd be so
So I've got to
yeah.
figure out 5 years in advance how many cell phones to build,
Yeah.
how many cars to build, what kind of cars to build. And particularly in a day and age like this one,
Mhm.
I don't even know what technologies are going to be available a month from now,
Right.
let
Right.
alone 5 years from now. And so
Yeah.
things just change too quickly. But even if they don't, I'm not in a position to predict that far in advance, and
Right.
nobody is. And so the system has to fail. Uh,
Yeah.
Interestingly, that's part of what Marx wanted.
Was for failure. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy, but he grew up in rural Bavaria.
Okay.
Okay, and it might be somewhat like the town you're in. I don't know, but there were a lot of mom and pop shops.
Uh,
Uh, there weren't a lot of gigantic factories or anything like that, and he
yeah.
thought that was the ideal world.
Yeah.
And in some respects, it can be.
Right. Right.
But then he moved to Berlin and hated it.
Okay.
He thought that the factories and industrialization were horrible. That there were no the mom and pop shops were gone, and
Yeah.
and so he wanted to devise a system that wouldn't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And while having areas where mom and pop shops exist is great, you can't have a country based on that,
Right.
because if you want to have cell phones, you can't have a mom and pop enterprise building cell phones,
Right. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that cell phone that we all have in our pocket took thousands of engineers and resources from hundreds of countries to
Yeah.
put that all together. And so you have to have giant industry to make that happen. And
Right.
so you need capitalism. But Marx tried to devise a system where that couldn't happen.
I was thinking about boycotts. Like if you wouldn't be able to boycott under socialism, and people use that as a tool to send messages to companies all the time is by boycotting. And
Yeah. Um, well, in fact, we're watching what's happening in Iran right now.
uh-huh. Yeah.
That I mean, that's not strictly socialism, but it is a centrally planned economy.
Uh-huh.
And and so far they've killed as of this morning, it was 200 and some people that have been killed.
Okay. Oh my
That's
gosh.
what happens when you protest under a centrally planned economy.
Yeah. I think that's another thing is people don't realize um we're we're we have the right to protest, in this I guess this isn't related to the economy, but um I guess people don't realize the rights that we have, that when the government doesn't control every single thing that we do, we just have more rights to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because once the government takes economic control,
Mhm.
people don't like that.
Yeah.
So every place there's been a socialist government, there has also been a huge black market. For example, in North Korea right now, you can get executed for buying an American DVD on the
Oh.
black market.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
because if you're going to try and run the economy, you can't allow a black market.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since black markets work so under the table, you are forced to execute people. You have to make an example out of anybody that is in that black market to
Right.
try and stop it.
Yeah.
However, even under threat of death, North Korea still has a big black market
Yeah.
because people want stuff. They just
Right.
do.
Yeah.
And and so
Jeez.
yeah, talk about interfering with our rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand the difference. I mean, uh, there are things to complain about in the U.S., but our rights are beyond any other country in the world that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I wish more people thought about stuff like that, but how much we do have, even though it seems like a lot of people don't think we don't have a lot. And yeah, I do think that you've made a great point throughout our conversation in showing how capitalism is what brings us the good lives that we have.
Our listeners could look around their house right now and ask themselves, how much of this stuff did I get from capitalism, and how
Yeah.
much did I get from government?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Is there any main point you want to drive home to the listeners?
Well, aside from the one that socialism doesn't work and
Yeah.
it's a really nasty system, I guess the thing about value, I would encourage all of your listeners to
Uh-huh.
start today. Go out there and look at what your talents are.
Yeah.
Look at the things you love and say, how can I create value from others by exploiting those two things? How
Yeah.
can I take what I do well and what I like doing
Mhm.
and find ways to create value for other people, like you and I are doing right now.
Right.
You're taking something that you're good at and that you enjoy doing,
Yeah.
and you get to create value for other people. And I may sell a few books out of this deal, and you may make a few bucks on the podcast, but
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure that's not why either of us are doing it.
Right.
I
No.
know,
Yeah.
no, we're doing it because we're following our bliss and exploiting our talents
Mhm.
in ways to create value for other people. And
Yeah.
if all of your listeners would do that starting today, think how much better we could make the world.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if our first thought is, I want to use the gifts I have to create value for other people.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's the world I want to live in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the world that all of us want to live in.
Yeah. I think everyone would be so much happier. It just I think it drastically
Yeah.
change every day,
And
you know.
yeah, and free market entrepreneurial capitalism is the only thing that's ever been devised that allows us to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an interesting book to mention to you after we're done recording, but I do want you to show off your book one more time, and
Okay,
I will put
I can do that.
the link in the episode notes so that people can pre-order it. And yeah, you've got about a week before it comes out. So
Yes,
yeah,
January 20th is the big day,
yeah,
and
sounds
I'm
good.
excited about it. It's
Yeah,
going to be fun.
yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show, and I will keep in touch with you. So
Please do, and thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. It
yeah,
really has.
absolutely. Right back at you.